Hi, you come to this page because you wanted to start an e-commerce business, or you are an offline retail leader and you want to get into D2C business, but you are a little confused about all the technological choices. So this video is like a masterclass. So we are going to talk about some of the common problems that people who are starting into e-commerce face, and possibly give some clarity to those confusions. So what you're facing now is not something that is only that you're facing. So the problem is very real. I've talked to many founders in the e-commerce space, and they face similar kind of problems. Some of the common questions in their mind are, uh, I know there are a couple of platforms like Shopify, WooCommerce, but how do I choose the platform that is good for my business? Right? And what are the costs involved in the technology stack? Do I need to hire a developer, or can I do it completely as a DIY? And if I start as a DIY and if I get stuck, what should I be doing? So these kind of confusions are there in the founders' minds, and that actually stops them from proceeding further. So when you are not doing some action, what happens is there is an opportunity cost, which is like, if you started the business, you would have got some kind of revenue, but since you did not start, you're not able to do such, progress. So this masterclass is primarily to address those points. So this is not for someone who is already doing an e-commerce business and things like that. So this is for beginners of e-commerce business. So, feel free to drop off at any point if you think some of the topics that we are going to talk now is not something that you're looking forward to. Okay. So before we start the e-commerce business, there are at least two things every business leader should think about. One is the business viability. So you have a product and you want to take it to the market, but you should have some kind of market research done to understand what is the product market fit. So some kind of a rough plan. What is it that you're expecting to sell in the first 3 months, first 6 months, and first 1 year? We need to have some kind of a plan. And how are we producing this product? And how are we going to reach more people to sell this and all of it? So that is the viability part. So what is the mode of your business? I mean, how are you different from your competitors? So these are things that you might have to think through. And the second thing is with respect to the operations of the business. So, for example, setting up a physical shop is a little different from setting up a e-commerce shop on the internet. So when things are in the internet, there are specific attributes or assets that you need to bring about. So for example, your domain name. So it would be something like mydukan.com or things like that. So the domain name you need to buy. I'll tell where to buy and what are the good vendors and all of it over the video. You need a logo because this is a digital footprint. You need to have GST, PAN. These are required for the payment gateways and logistics gateways that are going to integrate with your business. You need to have clear set policies and certificates for the return policies, or cash on delivery policy and all of it. And the two most important things after that will be the payment gateway and logistics registration. These are third party vendors that will help businesses sell online. So this is what we need to start with before we embark on establishing your D2C brand. So now this question on platform is a very key piece of decision making point that will be required for every D2C brand owner. So there are a few options here. So WooCommerce, Shopify, Wix are the three major options. There are other options also, but these are the major options. And custom website is for someone that who is building something that none of the platforms are able to handle. So, for example, if you are selling something that is for example, not allowed by Shopify, right? That you will have to sell it through custom websites. So, for example, certain kind of knives, certain kind of arms cannot be sold on Shopify. So, for that purpose, we will have to build custom websites. So, that's a very rare case. So, let's not dig deeper into that. Let's talk about the two major choices, which is WooCommerce and Shopify. So WooCommerce, right? Like it started from WordPress. So WordPress is a blogging software, and WooCommerce is the commerce, plugin for WordPress. That's how the WooCommerce came in play. So WooCommerce was primarily developed as a developer-friendly software. So usually speaking, if you want to customize some things, WooCommerce is a little easier, but you need to be a developer to do the benefits of WooCommerce. But Shopify, on the other hand, is a DIY kind of an e-commerce system. It was built for people to get started with e-commerce very quickly. That's the notion of Shopify. It is a pure e-commerce software. It's not like WooCommerce or Wix, which are general websites, and then Shopify is specifically for e-commerce. But what started as a DIY software now has become very big, and usually now, I mean, like as a DIY project, Shopify cannot be done. It's either you need to hire a developer or you need to read through extensive documentation to get that going. Now, having seen these platforms, I want to explain a little about the costs that are involved in the e-commerce, platforms. So, what we need to understand in the costs are in three major brackets. So, one is a one-time cost, which is what you do at the start of the project. So, for example, you buy a domain name, you buy a hosting server. All of these are one-time costs. Or if you are using a developer to set up the shop, these comes under one-time cost category. The monthly cost is nothing but the subscription cost that is coming from the platform. So, for example, Shopify has a subscription cost, but it doesn't have a hosting cost because it's a SaaS software. But if you use WooCommerce, WooCommerce does not have a subscription cost, but it has a hosting cost. So things like that, are different for each platform. There are pros and cons and things like that. So those come under the monthly cost category. The apps are add-on applications that are coming on top of the e-commerce software. Examples include, you want to collect reviews, user reviews. There is a separate piece of software for it. I mean, if you want to do email marketing, there is a separate piece of software. So these are software that get added to Shopify WooCommerce and bring more functionality to the website. So those are usually built on a monthly basis, just like how subscription works. The app also have subscriptions. And if you're using a developer to do your website and maintain the website, there will be retainer costs involved on that. So these are under monthly costs. The cost per transaction is something that has to be handled, or if you are having a payment gateway, right? Like, so you collect payments from your clients, and the payment gateway is involved. If you're an offline business, you will have a POS terminal, and there is a transaction cost involved on the POS terminal. It is similar to that. Platform fee is also on a per transaction basis. So, for example, Shopify, Wix, they have platform fees. So these are the things that we need to understand when we think about costs in an e-commerce system. So in the last video, we saw about the platform costs and understood that there are one-time cost, monthly cost, and transaction costs. So I want to talk about these in a little more detail for each platform. So let's talk about the platform subscription and hosting. Right? Like we need to look at this together. So in the case of, say, Shopify, you will have a platform subscription cost. but you will not have a hosting cost. But if you take WooCommerce, the platform subscription cost will not be there, but the hosting cost will be there. So if you look at both of them together, more or less they will be the same. But when we go to transaction fees and gateway fees, I think that is common for across all the platforms. So you see that, when we are choosing the platform, we need to be careful about what is the cost in one platform versus other and things like that. I'll try to explain the gateway fees in a little more detail. So gateway fees is nothing but the payment gateway fee that happens for every transaction. So these transaction and gateway fees are on a per transaction basis. For each item that you sell, there will be a fee that you are giving to either the platform or the payment gateway. So things like phone pay or razor pay, when we are using them, there will be a charge for it. Roughly speaking, for Indian operations, this would be around 2.5% of the value of the product that is being sold. Now, themes, apps, and plugins, these are being done by other developers, third-party developers, who are outside of WooCommerce or Wix or the Shopify ecosystem. But there are other developers, independent developers who build it, and then they will sell it on the marketplaces of either WooCommerce marketplace or Shopify marketplace, things like that. The last component, the setups and retainers, these are primarily agency fees and the developer fees that is involved in setting up the website. So roughly these are the costs that are involved in the e-commerce tech space. So you have seen it from a time point of view, whether it is monthly, one time, or per transaction. That's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is in each category, what are the costs and things like that. So now let's move on to what are the aspects that you need to think when you're designing the website or the front end of the website. I see most founders, right? Like they want a very fancy website with a lot of things sliding from here to there and rainbows and things like that. What I've seen is that these, although if they look very fancy, and the business at the end of the day is not going to be successful because of the complex website design. I'll tell you the reason. In India, most of the sales, right, if you move out of the metropolitan cities, the broadband speeds are not that high. So from that point of view, if you have the first contentful paint, this is in browser terminology. So when a browser loads a particular website and the first paint doesn't happen within 2 seconds, the business will not pick up. That's a very standard statistic. You can Google it and find it out. So for that, you should not be looking at fanciness on your website. Rather, it should be simple. It should be built for mobile and it should load very quickly. So these are the primary aspects that one needs to handle when designing websites. So for every region, there are differences. For every industry, e-commerce industry, there are differences. I think we need to understand all of this and put the best foot forward when designing the website. And the next big thing that with respect to the website is the product catalog. So here, the taxonomy in which you organize your products. So by taxonomy, what I mean is, let's say this is an apparel store, right? So men, women, and that's a very top level thing. And then inside men, shirts and trousers and things like that. So there is a definite hierarchy that almost for each industry there is this hierarchy. We need to be aware of that and set up our product catalog that is compliant with the industry standards. We should not be looking at disrupting a few things here and there and things like that. Usually it doesn't work. So from a product catalog point of view, the 5 core pieces are product image, description, your price with MRP price, sale price, all of it displayed very clearly, discounted price, all of this comes there. The stock keeping unit, SKU ID, that's for internal referencing with respect to the inventory management. So later I'll be talking about logistics and all of it. So the SKU and inventory are very key pieces from a warehouse management point of view. So this is what is the product catalog. Now let's look at a payment gateway. So what is a payment gateway? What are the options that we have here and all of it? So payment gateway is the cornerstone of e-commerce. So you're able to do a direct to customer relationship because of the payment gateway. So for example, this is your customer and the customer visits your website. He likes a product and he wants to order it. So when he orders it, there are two ways. One, you can do cash on delivery or he pays it upfront. So when he pays it upfront, what happens is the money that is in his account on his mobile phone or the browser, it has to go to as a bank transaction between his account and your account, your merchant account. Now, once that handshake is done, the money is reflected in your merchant account. So this entire cycle is being handled by someone, and that someone is nothing but a payment gateway. So the common options that we have here are Razorpay, PhonePe, PayU, and things like that. In India, Razorpay is the most popular, payment gateway for e-commerce applications, and their onboarding process is very swift. You can get started with the registration, and you will be getting the details of your payment gateway within a week. So for the payment gateway registration, these are the documents that are required. And once you have all of these documents ready with you, you can reach out to them and they will be, issuing your payment gateway IDs. And once that is ready, it can be integrated into the e-commerce software. So similar to how payment gateway adds the core functionality to your e-commerce website, another key piece is the logistics provider. So the logistics provider is someone who is going to actually do the act of carrying the product from your warehouse and delivering it to the customer. And if the customer is not satisfied and he wants to return, the return path also coming back to the warehouse, this is handled by logistics vendors. So here in logistics, there are two layers in which things operate. One is at the very bottom, DTDC, Blue Dart. These are actually courier services. These are the things that are doing the actual delivery. And ShipRocket is sitting on top of these providers, which is like an aggregator of sorts. So for example, you can use DTDC for some type of parcels, you can use Blue Dart for others and things like that. So this is the space for logistics, and similar to what we have in payment gateway registration, logistics also has the basics that need to be covered with respect to PAN, business account, GST certificates and all of it. And in addition to those that we see in a payment gateway, here what two things that needs to be happen, paid attention is the warehouse address. So the warehouse address is where the content, the SKUs that the customers are ordering in your website are hosted. And you need to have clear shipping and return rules. So for things like how long does it take to deliver, what counts as a valid return product, how long does it take to return a product, and all of this. So these rules have to be set up very clearly on the website to avoid any confusions with the customer, that with the business and all of it. The next part that I want to cover is with respect to the operational costs in logistics. So this is something that usually the first time founders, they are not paying attention to, and it causes a heartburn because they didn't involve this in the overall scheme of things. So for example, you price a product at let's say 100 rupees, but the cost of delivery within any place inside India is like say 85 rupees, then you are actually setting yourself for failure. So you should account all of that. So the most simplest way to handle this cost is built-in shipping. So the customer does not know about a shipping cost. It's all included into the product cost. So that is called built-in shipping. Another way to look at it is flat rate shipping. which means that across the product categories, across the locations in any pin code in India, there is a constant shipping rate. So these are some things that you need to also consult the logistics provider to see what are all the options that we have. For example, dynamic pricing is available only with certain logistics provider and a certain traffic. So, for example, if you are saying that I can sell 10,000 units in a month, at that point you can go discuss dynamic pricing options with the logistics provider. Conditional pricing is another way of pricing. So, for example, if someone orders more than 5,000 rupees, then you can discount the pricing, discount the shipping cost. Or, these are thresholds or these are rules that you can set up within the e-commerce software that allows you to manage what are the operational costs for your system. So these are the broad things that are involved in setting up the logistics operation for your business. Now, coming to a very key part in digital commerce is digital marketing. So these go hand in hand. So if it is a physical store, right, like the marketing is a different channel. But in digital, e-commerce, now the digital marketing is very close because you get in front of the customers through digital marketing and the sale happens digitally also. So that way, e-commerce shops are in a better place to leverage the digital marketing aspect. And there is a direct line of connection between marketing, automation, and growth. So if we set all of this right, it's very easy for brands to scale very quickly given the appetite for e-commerce in India. Now, digital marketing is a very big space, and it does not merit to have a very small conversation in a masterclass like this, and cover all the aspects. But generally speaking, on a very top level, these are things that you need to focus on. Meta ads, that is the most popular way to reach your customers in India. Meta ads could include Facebook marketing, it could include WhatsApp marketing, it could also include Instagram. All this comes in that. And the social media is the organic presence that your brand needs to have. So when we say digital marketing, it is twofold. One is paid marketing, wherein like you pay for the media. This will give you very quick returns, but you need to keep paying for it. And organic marketing is where you own the social media for your brand, and there is an organic following of followers and all of it. So that is not, you don't have to keep pumping money to reach. But here the thing is, it's a slow tick up. So it will take anywhere between 4 to 6 months for your social media to have the entire following that is required for your business. So generally, my advice would be, when an e-commerce brand is launched, the first 3 months comes from digital marketing, which is purely paid. In this time, we build the organic content also. And from 5 6 months onwards, the organic traffic will pick up. And you can then make a choice as to whether you still want to do paid ads or only the social media and SEO will take you through it. GA4 is Google Analytics. This is where we use to segment customers, identify more about your customers, and fine tune the marketing messaging and everything. Email marketing is a way to reconnect with your customers. They have already purchased, but you want to send some information to them and all of it. That comes under email marketing. So as a recap, so this is a very short masterclass that covers what are the platform choices that we have, how do you need to build the website, what are the payment gateway options we have, what are the logistics provider options we have, and what are the digital marketing options here. So in this video, we have looked at what options we have for building the e-commerce brand or launching the e-commerce brand. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is not going to be answering all of your queries and all of your doubts. I understand this. And if you think that there are a few more questions in your mind and you want to have a conversation with me, find the link below and try to book a call with me. I'll try to unravel more questions and try to help you on your journey to launch your e-commerce brand. Thanks a lot and all the best for your e-commerce brand launch.